Hi, it's Nick Ball here. It is Sunday, the 11th of February 2024. This video is for Leila. Hi, Leila. David Farley, Nicole, Forsgren, Jez Humble, and Jean Kim. And oh gosh, I haven't put Sam Newman there. It is also for Sam Newman. Okay, but this is the 5th video of my OKRs for this quarter. Okay, very quickly, if we go back to week 1, this is the Q planner, the quarter planner, where all of these projects are related. Each has its own OneDrive file and each has its own research index. To find any one document, copy and paste that into OneDrive and it's right there. Alternatively, go through the various folders, all well organized. So from the daily planner, this is the weekly planner, week, and we're on now. We're in week 6, right at the end of it. The primary target this week, last week, and the next week is legal. And all of these categories that you see on the left are all interrelated. So quite often, when working on one thing, ideas come for other categories, and I'm gonna start talking about that right now. Okay, so I wrote this yesterday. OKR DevOps for Dav1, iterations keep score. Okay, first of all, to David Farley, Nicole, Forsgren, I hope I've pronounced the name right, Jez Humble, Jean Kim, and Sam Newman. I'm not a programmer, not a software engineer. I am somebody who knows a bit about it. You know, I can write HTML and stuff like that, but I work with a great engineer. He's mostly works with Python now, but he was PHP. We make stuff, and we've made some really cool stuff. One part of that is the logistics software that we want to design, that we need so as people can make the entire project. And let's have a very quick look. swal.org, and you'll see the system architecture planned right there. 10 different technologies, of which 3 are kind of out of this world. We are, however, working on the SWAL platform, which is the first 6 technologies, and in particular technology 2 as part of business software, the TBS-CC, the Total Business Systems Company Controller, OKRs, objectives and key results. Okay, so here we are in the weekly planner, and we've seen a lot of this in previous weeks, in the previous videos, sorry. So I'm going to focus on updating this week, and I'm going to do it per sorry, I actually forgot to say, if you're watching this and it doesn't look pin sharp, in YouTube, go to the gear icon in the bottom right and change it to a higher resolution. Okay, continuing. I'm going to read from yesterday's work. This wasn't yesterday's work, this was yesterday's idea. It came to me at 9:37. I recorded it as a voice clip. I then copied it out, really liked it, made a point of including it in the video that I'm now making. Now, this never happens, but somehow I lost all the content and had to redo it again just now. But each time you have to redo it, you kind of make it a little bit better. So, right, okay, when it comes to working collaboratively, sorry, by the way, I am dyslexic, so if I sometimes get it wrong when I'm reading out loud, you know what? I'm better at numbers. Okay, when it comes to working collaboratively in modern software engineering with true professionals who care more about seeking perfection or simplifying complexity than the worries about scoring, then, sorry, I also haven't double checked this because, as I said, I just rewrote it. Then the worries about scoring and cheating disappear. Now, there's a lot of stuff that I've been working on in this version of the OKRs that deals with how to stop people cheating the system, just like people cheat SEO, you know. But in this DevOps edition, we're not going to worry about that much. There is the incentive to cheat because the system, the Quanta Analytica, actually gives whoever came up with the idea royalties being 25% of the, not the revenue, the turnover of the entire network of companies that the software will service. But we're not going to get into that. We're now focusing on OKRs, this system. Okay, right. So this is the DevOps version, and this is the first one I've done of the TBS-CC OKRs. Unlike 4.5 for teams where salespeople are incentivized by money and due to the Hawthorne Effect are incentivized by points. The Hawthorne Effect is behavioral economics, basically says when they tested a lot of people, they tested some people by giving them a financial bonus, I think it was. And other people, they didn't give them any bonus. I'm saying it wrong. The bottom line was everybody did better and no one could work it out until it's like, actually the fact that they knew they were being looked at made them work harder. That's the Hawthorne effect. So there's monetary incentivization and then there's the Hawthorne effect. You know, what your peers think of you, how well, you know, you get the high five. Whoa, you know, sports, also in programming. So, you know, Hawthorne effect is powerful. And it can be a motivator to cheat. Anyway, I'm not worrying about that side of it right now. I'm just working out the best way for me personally to work. And in working out the best way for me to work, I can best work out the best way for me to work collaboratively. This started as a collaborative piece of a spreadsheet for me and Vineeth. But turned into very much a solo project. Now it's 3 people, so we're moving forwards in the collaboration, but I'm rambling, so I'm just going to read. However, with this said, this actual video is first going to be seen by Leila in Teams. Hi Leila, who is currently making an art of presenting products using SWeb 5.1 and GTP4. And so this video is for her. And smart creatives everywhere. Let's just have a look at what Leila's been doing today. Where's the ID? This one. Okay, so this is a CMS we designed, not this. Yeah, here we go. This is how we present products to the public. Okay. So she did all this. Text, GTP4 assisted. Photos. But it's the layout of it that makes it sort of Condé Nast magazine-y. And compared to how other people will present the same property, this looks better. And you can see, you know, she's really put extra effort into this. You know, it's not the best villa in the world, not by a long shot, but, you know, it looks good on the page. Okay, so that's what Leila's been doing. And because of that, 6092, there's, I think that's 40 points. Yeah. Here are the emojis and scores. On the left. Okay, 4.4 is basically the version that I use. And is sort of the standard version. It is all versions. There are later versions, 4.5 for teams, 4.6 for DevOps, that use the same ideas, but tailor it to their own specializations. Okay, so points. A tick is 4. A light bulb, an idea, is 8. The lightning, 12.5. Explosion, 25. On fire, 50. Cyclone, 75. Planck, space rocket, 100. Galaxy, Milky Way, 250. For doing an on-task event, 30 points. For completing something, 90 points. For completing an objective, 500 points. And here is 4.5, what Leila's doing. So if Leila adds a villa that is 4-star, 20 points. 4.5 star, 30 points. 5 star, 40 points. 6 star, 60 points. 7 star, 80 points. I know people don't usually understand what a 7-star villa is. It basically is kind of like a mini hotel, but it's just for one person, and it is extremely luxurious. So it's not just for one person, it's for exclusive use. Okay, but really there should be 2 sets of parameters. There should be one for the actual property, and there should be another for how well that Leila or whoever is working has made that property look. I'm just talking out loud things that I will try and do in the future. At the moment, I'm really mainly focused on my own OKRs. But it's absolutely great when suddenly I get an extra 40 points scored by Leila, and because that benefits me, I get those points. If we look yesterday, Vinny fixed CTLV. He scored himself a whopping great big galaxy, and I got the points. Okay, so I'm gonna jump back here. We're gonna be jumping in and out of this letter as we go. Okay, so however, with this said, the actual first video is going to be seen by Leila and team, who is currently making an art of presenting products using SWeb 5.1 and GTP4. And so this video is for her and smart creators everywhere. By the way, the next product we want to create is SWeb 6 VC, voice command, CMS, and CRM all in one. So it's essentially these two combined. And whilst I've looked at every AI and they've all got their benefits, what we're looking at right now is really the language side of things is more important than anything else. So GTP4 makes sense as the first idea to present to the software development modern software engineering team. Okay, let's quickly jump over to the modern software engineering, and I made this earlier. Remember, this is the first video I've made, and it's really the first document I'm creating about the DevOps version of this. I've given it some thought, and there's been quite a few voice clips here and there, a couple of docs, but this is really the first time I've really started to look at it. Now, I am going through David Farley's book, Modern Software Engineering. Once I've done that, I'm straight on to Accelerate, but right now, It's the first time I've read it. Now, normally I'll read something that's quite highbrow and it'll be, I need a few reads, but this really is all about simplifying complexity, and I've been doing that for years without realizing I was doing it. Big fan of quantum mechanics, that sort of thing, chaos theory, um, psychology. So, to modern software engineering, I've actually gone through the chapters in the book, Modern Software Engineering, and what I'm trying to do is recruit the team to help me make this software. And I don't want a team, I want the people who wrote the book. I want these people and Sam Newman, because once that version of SWeb and GTP4 is created, we got to link it via microservices to all sorts of business software. So we'll get back to having a look at this. We're working a little bit here, but that links to it all, and they all link to each other, and that makes a combinatorial explosion of the 9 lower technologies. It's a little bit technical, and to be honest with you, it's probably the right audience for it to be a little bit technical. Combinatorial explosion is basically when one thing adds to another, and instead of you adding it 1 + 1 = such and such, it multiplies. And if they're all multiplying against each other, you create a system that is so massively useful that it's just becomes the economy of the world. That's why technologies 7, 8, and 9 are there. SRES is a very nifty financial way of increasing the money supply, whilst inflation is solved by the fact that this entire design was thrown away in 2016 because of what I call the law of third parties. What is it? The law of third party software. The diminishing law of APIs of third party software. The more different pieces of software you try to connect to other, the harder it is to connect it to all the APIs you can connect it to. So all this is designed as one system, kind of like an Apple Mac, I suppose. Closed system. And instead of us trying to break into the market in traditional ways, this is the business. Each business is started with all of this inside of it. They get a website like this, for example. This is a SWeb website. So they start with a website like this. You've got all the products on there. All they've got to do is find a way to get customers, and in social media that's pretty easy for some people. And there's, Google Ads, for example. All of the business side of things are dealt with by the microservices. And I learned all this because I did villa rentals, capevillas.com, 2001 to 2011. It's still going now. But during those 10 years, I was at the forefront of it, CEO, and having to deal with everything going wrong. The financials would always, someone would mess it up, and then a new financial person would come in, an expert telling me how bad the last person was, and in a year and a half time found out they're doing it wrong. And all the time over 10 years, no one can use this bloody software. So making the financial side of it as a microservice is essential. Everything you need to make a business, including registering the business, for instance, all of the legal side of things. That's why at the moment, what am I working on? Legal. Other than the weekends. It's all legal for these 3 weeks. So really, it's every single business service is included in this. And there's what's called the swapping menus function. Let's go to SWeb. So basically, you get a load of businesses, and this is a genuine example. Kate Villas had a client, was referred to another company that had the same stock on their website. Kate Villas had experienced Africa's safaris on their website, and the client booked the safari, and Kate Villas got 10,000 net profit from the referral. So the business idea is starting with that, but adding more services, then they can all link, and the menus will be swapped. So as everybody that comes along, or everybody who can join, wants to join the network or is allowed to join the network, their portfolio can be resold by everybody else on there. And when in about 5 years' time, when Google no longer looks like this, instead you've just got more like this. You got a chat. The menu system of the entire network will be on every single website within it. So if you've got 1 million websites, you've got 1 million shop fronts. I'm not going to go further because I'm getting off task, and I've only got about 25 minutes to complete this task. So, okay, I was here. Okay, so getting back to the DevOps. So because we're professionals, we can start work in a way that I started to work in this last week since the last video. For instance, since I made the voice clip CS34. Now, that is so good in the sequence that it is relevant to, it's worth a whopping 250 points. So I gave it the Milky Way. However, let's just, for orientation's sake, find where that is. This is here. You see there? No, it's not. CS34. Here it is. Yeah. That wasn't what I was doing that day. It was a voice clip, but it is relevant to what was happening on Monday and what is going to happen in 2 weeks' time. So I needed to mark it as extremely special because at the time of doing it, it really was that good. But it's up for review, and I'm going to come back to the script now. Okay. However, what I found over the last few days is when I go back and look at yesterday's and the week's before's work, as we'll see tomorrow when I do the video catch-up, which I'm actually doing now, I'm going to be first looking at all the high-scoring emojis, and sometimes they're not going to be worth their value anymore because a better idea, the next iteration of it, has happened, and that has scored a new galaxy. Now, if that happens, and there's galaxies all over the place, then the galaxy emoji isn't worth anything anymore. The benefit of the galaxies is when I look over my last week's work or my last month's work and I've only got 10 galaxies in there, I'm like, wow, okay, let's first start to have a look at all those galaxies. Okay, so let me explain that. So these are under review, what I did yesterday. You see galaxy there, galaxy there, galaxy there, galaxy carried there. So that's 4 galaxies, and I really should only be having 4 galaxies per category in a month. If we go back further, you can see a lot of these were actually galaxies this one remained as a galaxy and became a key project I started yesterday here. So because this has now improved to, where is it? The way back with GPT-4, scene 1. Yeah. Okay, so this is kind of this move forwards. It's not really, no. There's also a lot of stuff for Virgin on that voice clip. Right at the very end, it had the idea to redo the screenplay starting in 2012, not 2000, and use flashbacks. So in terms of that piece of text for Virgin, as soon as I come back to doing what I want to be doing, which is here, this blue, when the main project, the main thing I'm doing is working on the software that I love. At the moment, I'm doing the legal. But, I'm not grumbling about it. If you want to see me grumbling, go back a few videos and see when I'm doing medical administration. That is just kills me. But anyway, so, yeah, part of this video is not me showing whoever's watching what I'm doing. It is me also going back and genuinely looking over this last week, looking for whenever there are high emojis that don't necessarily have to be there, that have been either improved. So let's have a look. Now, if they're... Let's have a look. Let's encrypt failure fixed. Yeah, that was definitely a high score. You can see a couple of little grumpy fellas above it. This, remember, Leila, this was when the website completely crashed. Yeah, didn't upgrade didn't redo the Let's Encrypt signature. Okay, so looking over it. Okay, I'm going to get back to the script. Just so let's have a look at this one. Did all. Okay. That could potentially. There was a good task completed. It should be more of a flag, however, than a Planck space rocket. And that means instead of 550 points, I don't get 100 times 2, I get 90 plus, and that changes. And now obviously when we design a software, it does all this automatically. There's also a lot of stuff that goes on below that counts the amount of times each emoji is used, so you can only have so many per category, but that's not necessarily what I'm working with at the moment. It's just too much hassle to do it on a spreadsheet. Okay. Actually, I'm just going to keep myself there. Okay. So, I was here. The benefit of the galaxies is when I look over my last week's work, or my last month's work, and I've only got 10 galaxies in there, I'm like, wow, okay. First of all, let's have a look over those galaxies. The OKRs Q planner will then subcategorize them into their different categories. Show this on the video, add this week's galaxies to the Q planner. Okay. I'm actually not, because I haven't decided yet. I haven't reviewed this week. What I'm going to do is do it for the week before. No, it's not. in my zone of familiarity. It's going to be easier to do it this week. So we go through looking for, you see, whilst this was a win, it's not worth recording. So that I don't put down. You know, fixing something isn't as good as, you see, there's nothing particularly high all day there, so I'm not even going to bother looking at it. Here, 70 points. And we'll talk about these chains and how these targets end up cascading into higher points in the dialogue in a second. Medical record tampering and conspiracy to pervert the course of justice by Dr. Antonio Farley. Now that can go in a few places, both of the legal, but it wasn't the primary. Okay, well, for now, because it is, I'm going to throw it here. Some sort of, and I've got to put the ID there. Okay. Now I suppose if I wonder if I do it like that and then left align it. Ah, look at that. I can hide it. Information hiding. Okay. The first time I've ever applied that. Yeah, okay. The ID is there, and yet we can see that there was something there that scored a high point. Right, okay, so continuing, what was the next one? Okay, I don't remember this one so well. It's a voice recording, and it's there for me to go back. I'm not going to put it, well, it's kind of telling me to go back, and I would, if I wasn't doing this video, I would now go and listen to that voice recording. It'll only be a few minutes long, but it's legal and it's going to have a load of stuff on there that I don't really want to share. So, especially because a part of the legal strategy is actually sending the opponents this, showing them how much they're wasting my time. Right. Okay, going to the... Okay. Ah, here is a whopping great big galaxy there for the Sienna Mountain added to Live. So take the ID. This is why I've got two spaces for legal at the moment. See, they're all sort of the same. The blue is software, the green is medical, red is legal, yellow is the screenplay, purple is Kate Villas, dark grey, and the bluey grey are technical, system admin, and programming, engineering. If I need more subcategories, I'll just make more, but it's nice and tidy at the moment, so it's about trying to record as much information on here as simply as possible without, of course, if this was made as software, I wouldn't have to do these little tricks, but in a way I'm actually showing the software team what we need to do. So I need to add that, and I need to add a Milky Way to that. Let me grab the Milky Way. That sometimes happens. Totally forget where I am. Right, here we go. Okay, let's just make them all highlight left. You know what? I'm gonna add a squared symbol to that Planck space rocket. To signify that there's... Okay, that's telling me I've got very little time left. Okay, so I'm going to now add that second ID that I saw earlier that I should go back on. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Here it is. VR. It's a voice recording, so it doesn't have... I'll put the time slot plus Wednesday 11 p.m. plus Wednesday 11 p.m. So if I write on here plus other on plus VR voice recording, not virtual reality, plus VR on Wed 11 p.m. Okay. You can't quite see the squared. Now you can. There we go. Working quite well. Yeah, you see now, if I have a quick glance back, I can quickly identify the very best pieces, especially because at the moment I'm working in legal, so I know what's going on. But if I come up with something for, let's, for this category, the Wayback Screenplay, which I have, when I come to doing that full time, the first thing I'm going to do is look back and go, oh, there's a Milky Way. Okay. Makes sense. Okay. I'm now going to go to that exact example. Exact example. Yeah, there we go. It's not going to hurt to put the Saturday 7 p.m. Okay, it's not going to hurt to add that information. Don't know why the color's gone a bit wonky. Okay, you see, now when I come to do the Wayback Trilogy, I'm going to go back, and go, okay, there's something I've got to find there, and I'll easily be able to get back to the day, the time, and a reminder of what's going on. Okay, well, if nothing else, today I have seriously improved this for me, because this is definitely, I've been trying to get this Q planner right for about 1.5 years. And that's after 3 years of trying to get to the point where I realized I needed a Q planner in the first place. Okay, it started off with just a daily planner. like this. I'm going to try and get back to the letter. Okay, so I've just done this. Yeah, the OKR's Q Planner will then subcategorize them into different categories. Show this on the video. Add this week's galaxies to the Q Planner. And then you only have a few galaxies per category per quarter. So the benefit of having them there in terms of letting us know what is good and what has been forgotten that needs to be remembered. That's the key. What is good and what has been forgotten that needs to be remembered. In that example I've just shown you, I will not have probably remembered that at that point I had a really good idea or did a really good doc that was done at Sunday night, not in typical work hours, Saturday night rather. Right, continuing the doc. In an iterative design where so often the best parts aren't in the initial plan, it's hard to stay on task, especially as new things are exciting. OKRs, objectives and key results, are about execution, and for me, it's all about staying on task during the mandatory hours. The biggest change this quarter, why I've managed to stay on task and execute key results, is the on-task bonus, which says that even if I don't complete the task in the time slot, just by working on it, I receive the bonus, in place of what I would have received, 2 or 3 ticks, which are only worth a maximum of 12 points. Whereas if I have a good new idea that wasn't in the right time slot task, sorry, let me explain myself here. Look at Monday. Okay, if I have an idea here that is kind of cool, I wouldn't be doing the task. I'd have a load of stuff, and what I actually wanted to do wouldn't be done. Okay, let's go back to the narrative. So instead of ticks, for doing the work that is on task, what it says there to do, if I do that, I get an on-task bonus. And I record what qualifies as an on-task bonus here, albeit this isn't actually the following week. This is from a couple of weeks ago. I've just copied it across. This tells you the amount of on-task bonuses you can have per category, if you can have a finishing flag, if it's worth a carryover from a previous Milky Way. Okay, back to the narrative. Okay. So instead of me risking getting a 12.5 or 12 or maybe a 25 just for doing the task that I told myself I really had to do, it was an objective key result that was necessary, instead of just the ticks, I give myself 30 points for doing it. Working with this incentivization system led me to rarely complete the task. Led me to rarely complete the task that I'd assigned. Working without this incentivization system led me to rarely complete the tasks I assigned. There's a lot of good theories and ideas that are valuable to other categories. So one could even fool oneself into thinking one is moving forward. But there's got to be a balance between getting on task and iteration. And that balance is created by the on-task bonus. Why risk a new idea that may only score you a lightning for 12.5 points or an explosion for 25 when you can get a 30 points for just getting on with the task, no matter about the execution in that one time zone? This motivated me to start working on key task results, and soon those on-task key results escalated into higher emoji scores. You'll often see it on the DP a task 30 points, or 2 or 3 in a row, followed by an on fire for 50, or a cyclone for 75, or even a Planck space rocket, sometimes a galaxy. By sticking on task and completing a major key result, I can score higher, and those high scores will remain or be carried to future improvements and iterations of the same task idea. Let's have a look at an example of that. We've already seen it here. On task, on task, on task, and by the end of the day, that started coming up to something, and 700 is a darn good score. And you know what? When I was at this point here, and I had all this to do, yeah, it's worth it in the end. Following day, the Sienna amount in addition to that project turning a very grim task into something of beauty will remain. And I'm now going to, in fact, we've already added that, haven't we? $35E. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to add the rest of these, sorry, to this later on, and we'll come back to it in the next video. For now, I'm going to complete this. By sticking on task and completing a major key result, I can score higher, and those high scores will remain or be carried to future improvements and iterations of the same idea/task. If a new idea comes along, indicated by the light bulb for 8 points, I am now in the habit, I quickly dictated them. Sorry, all of this is done by voice dictate, so it's, as well as being dyslexic, you've also got the the voice recording software making its own mistakes, of quickly dictating them. And after the dictation, if it's worthy, I'll add its name to the DP, followed by a temporary score that is more based on how important it is for me to come back and look at another time than anything else. So a light bulb and an explosion for 33 points, or a light bulb and a Milky Way for 258 points. However, at the end of the day, or the following week's review, these ideas will be reviewed in context. I will now see an example of me going over okay, I suppose that's more. You will now see an example of me going over last week's work, including this very document, which currently scores a carried Milky Way, and I will review the idea or work and restore it using my System 2 brain. See Thinking Fast and Slow by Danny Kahneman. The reflective mind as opposed to the in-the-moment mind. The reactive mind. So basically, if I'm working away and I've suddenly got a new idea, I'm going to do it in a quick voice clip, and I'm going to give that voice clip a quick score. I'm in the System 1 brain. I'm reacting. No. Yeah, I'm reacting. It's like when you're skiing, you know, you just... But in review, like now, I've got time to look over it and go, well, you know, let's find something that, let's go back to yesterday's. Okay, so here, for example, okay, hold on 1 second. I'm going to pause for dinner and return to this video in a few minutes' time. Well, you won't actually tell the difference. Actually, I have carried on. The dinner's in the oven. Right, so in case anybody thinks I'm lazy, I've got an SIJ injury, which means I can only walk up and down stairs about 6 times a day. So it sucks, but it gives me a lot of time to do this. Right, okay, so looking back at yesterday, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4 Milky Ways. Now that is just ridiculous. There should be... Okay, well, Beneath fixed Cape Town Luxury Villas. This website has been down for a long time, and it has within it, which is good for legal and the book, these marketing reports from 2014 and the beginning of the idea for the S-Web affiliates, and these are really kind of priceless. So yeah, beneath fixing that, was worth it. Yeah, you know, that was a thing. Was I've been working on it myself, and I couldn't work it out. There was a load of complex PHP server updating stuff. Okay, so there we go. And I'll information hide beneath fixed CTLV. Okay, is it more of a space rocket than a Milky Way? I think it is. So I'm actually going to change it proactively now. Planck Space Rocket is an extremely good score. You know, it used to be the highest score. Only about 3 weeks ago did I add the Milky Way. Right, so I'm going to now change that back to... Okay. Let's have a look at the next one. The Wayback Scene 1. That really is a Milky Way. Okay, so that's going to stay. Let's have a look at the next one. Okay, so this is where I did the voice recording that became this document that we're reading from. Okay, so, but because this document is created now and this document is superior to the voice recording, this document is now the important thing that needs to be remembered, not the initial voice recording. So I go back and and you can see it is carried. It has been carried to here, but was actually accidentally deleted here and then carried forward there. So you can actually see. So let's also put this here, ID, and let's put it on the week planner under OKRs DevOps. Now, why is that still showing, I wonder? I'll sort that out. Okay. There we go. That is, and that will probably carry. Now, when we make it a software in collaborations, it would carry week, and the ones previous to it would all have to go down in score. Because there's a new, better iteration, and we're no longer interested in the older versions. It's still worth keeping them there because sometimes people go the wrong way and you've got to reverse track. But it's no longer the main objective for me looking back, especially as at the moment the focus is not on that software. When we're working here, then the focus becomes all of these, and the first thing to do is go back and look. You see there's nothing like that was recorded the week before. Okay, so that has been carried there, and because of that, the original doc, well, the original voice clip, that just really goes down to a now you can see why this is sort of punishing in a way my score from yesterday, which is something that no one's really going to want to do, but needs to be done so as for me, so as I know what's the most recent, what's the best version, and if we're working as a team, so everybody knows. But I suppose the bonus is my score today is going to be higher, and I'm not really that worried about what I scored yesterday. Sure, at the end of the week they're all tallied up, but that's why I sort of started to say this is the professional version when we're sort of all working together as very, very closely, as opposed to a dispersed team of people in a business. Okay, so that has been carried. Okay. Okay. So that'll be the same there. That's going to destroy yesterday's score. I'll have to come back and review this. It's a bit of a weird one because I lost the content and had to rewrite it, so it's making this a little bit disjointed. That should have just remained as the win there. Okay, now I'm going to have to rescore this page. So 4 ticks. How many ideas still? Same 3 ideas still. 20 is for the villa. $30 are the on targets. It's really just the Milky Ways have gone down to 0. There's an extra space rocket. And there are 1, 2 explosions. That's 25 times 2. And there is how many on fires? 1, 2, 2. 2. So that's there. Whoa. Well, it would have been higher if I hadn't have deleted the document. So that's, it would have been up to 700. 700 is a really good score. 900 is phenomenal. But I haven't really looked at these ones. And I'm not going to now. Yeah, well, that's, you see, really that, you see here where I put the negative score. That's minus, what is it, minus 50 for deleting the content. It has thrown it out a bit. I'm going to get back to the document. Okay, so if a new idea comes along, indicated by the light bulb for 8 points, I'm now in the habit of quickly dictating them. And after the dictation, it feels worthy. So I'll add its name to the DP, followed by a temporary score that is more based on how important it is for me to come back and look at it later than anything else. So we can see, because I've later worked on these scores, this has been carried forwards. Okay, however, at the end of the day or the following week's review, these ideas will be reviewed in context. You will now see an example of me going over this work, including this very document, which carries currently scores are carried. Yeah, where is that? At some point, oh yeah, sorry, that's exactly what we just looked at. The creation of this document has now been carried to here, and this will stay here. This on fire here, sorry, this Milky Way here will stay, because that is a reminder of this. And when the video comes along, that'll probably get a Planck space rocket to go alongside it. But the document is the higher score. I don't know, one of the two. Let's get back to the document. I'm kind of hungry on what my dinner. Okay. Yeah, so I've read that bit. I will now restore the key result for later review or current value relative to the key objective that I'm working on at the time. Yeah, you saw me do that. Okay, I changed these from Milky Ways to on fire to explosions with the most recent version of the document indicated. Okay. In the software version, we can just go to the Q Planner and it will show only the scores for the specific categories. And for a category such as the Wayback Screenplay, when it comes to time to start that key objective for the week, it will show me all the ideas and work on that objective that has been done whilst the primary objective was a different story. So we've seen this. Okay. Here we can see a new document's been made in the series. And actually this should go like that, and that should be below it. Grey. Grey's pretty cool. Okay, so at the moment, the key objective is to finish the legal work. Okay, then we get back to doing what we love, software engineering, and this is finish the Innovate UK questions. We're too late for the prize this quarter, but we can start communications, and also it's a good way of presenting the work to others. It's sort of a standard format. Once that's done, get to work on the screenplay. As soon as I'm in this week, which will probably be a few weeks later, generally all these future ideas get pushed back because there'll probably be another week on legal, and then there'll probably be 3 weeks on S-World, not 2. So this won't probably be in week 10. This will probably be more like week 12. So by that time, I'll go back and I'll go, right, okay. Nothing there, nothing there, nothing there, nothing there. Oh, what's that? And I'll know to go back there. Unless this has been reiterated. So you see, it's a good way of pinpointing the best concepts when you're working in different categories that are all entangled. So at any one point, working on one thing can move forward another one of the categories. You might get inspired, or as you can see, I quite often get inspired to work on different objectives to what was planned out in the day. Okay. When it comes time to start the key objective of the screenplay, it will show me all the ideas on the work for that objective that have been done, whilst the priority objective was a different category. Note that we have to go to OKRs 4.4 to appreciate the planning where every single category has a direct link to every other category. Because of this, worthy additions to the non-on-task category are created all the time. Yesterday, for example, the two on-task tasks were to fix CTLV and write the new format and scene 1 of the screenplay the way back. But when scoring an idea that was the objective the day before, it inspired the idea to make this very voice clip and write this document, the first in the DevOps series. Working away over here on this, and I was scoring it, and this gave me the inspiration to suddenly write that document. Well, I didn't write it, I just vocalized it in 3 minutes, and then it took about an hour to rewrite the original vocalization. Okay, now add live Q planner explaining how the Wayback screenplay is relevant to every other category, and we're nearly finished here, so okay, let's just do that. This is kind of one of the beauties of this system, is that the way it's planned, these aren't abstract tasks that are completely different from each other. So the screenplay, okay, well, the screenplay can make money, so there you go. The screenplay is vital for Legal Strategy 8. It is very useful for the Department of Work and Pensions appeal. It is absolutely critical for all medical stuff because they don't have time to read stuff, and writing it in an entertaining way might get them past the first page. Who knows? Certainly the screenplay is going to be sent to all of those. It's definitely useful for capevillas.com because within it there are 2 people who have essentially tried to steal the company, and they get named and shamed in the screenplay. Well, behave themselves. Yeah, I really want to give the screenplay to Vineeth so he can read all about it and show his parents. Screenplay good for system admin and IT. Well, no. Okay, there's an example of where one category is not connected, but the screenplay is definitely on task and relevant to all of these: SWeb, SWorld, HEAI, Human Economic AI, OKR DevOps, and OKR TBS-CC, because, well, for one, the screenplay tells the story of its development, and for 2, we don't know where we're going to be in a year, and it's quite possible that the entire screenplay will be written and delivered as a marketing tool to launch this product. So there you go. This category is connected to all of the other categories apart from system admin and IT. Finally, if you haven't done it, show Leila and Vineeth's scores get added to my own scores. Okay. This is especially for Leila. So, as you can see, my score yesterday, 460, was 20, 40, 80 points was because of you, and 100 points was because of Beneath. You take away that, and I'm only scoring about 300, which would have been very disappointing. Okay. Right, so there we go. What would be next would be to on task. And how well did I do this video? How is it better than document? Look, you know, I've been stuttering all the way through it, so it's probably the best one in the series so far. But it's certainly not a Milky Way. But I will give it a Planck space rocket because because it's the best one I've done so far. Okay, and it's the beginning of this series, really, the DevOps series. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly. Where do the videos go? Yeah, we'll go here, wouldn't it? Alongside of that, so it'd be that and there. And just put Sunday. Whatever notes are necessary. Document plus vid on Sunday. There you go. That's enough information. And see, now when looking back, you know, there's not enough room, so I'm going to have to remove the Planck symbol. Okay, that now lets me know that there are two separate items that are both. Yeah. Okay. I think we're done. Okay. So to Leila and David Farley, Nicole, Forsgren, Jess Humble, Gene Kim, and Sam Newman, goodbye.